Hello everyone, welcome back. In our last video of Plate Tectonics, we explored how tectonics shapes everything from towering mountains, mountain ranges of Himalayas, Alps to explosive creation of Japanese, Philippines and volcanic arcs. But today, we are taking a step further into the battle zones where the Earth's tectonic plates collide, pull apart and grind past each other. These boundaries are where the real action happens. Deep sea trenches, massive rift valleys, and powerful fault lines like San Andreas that that constantly reshapes our planet. So let's go more deeper. Okay. So what do you mean by plate boundaries? Plate boundaries are the boundaries where two plates interact with each other. This is the simple and straightforward, definition. So there are three types of plate boundaries, students. First one is divergent boundary. So divergent boundary means when two tectonic plates are moving apart from each other, that is called divergent plate boundary. So divergent plate boundary is also known as convergent plate boundary because like constructive plate boundary, I'm sorry. So because when the two plates are moving apart, what is happening? The magma is coming out. The moment magma comes out on the surface of the earth, it solidifies and becomes the hard rocks. So this is how the ridge is formed. Okay. Second is convergent boundary. When two plates are colliding with each other, like two continental plates are colliding, then what will happen? One plate will go down and one plate will go up. This is how the fold mountains are formed. Okay, this is how fold mountains are formed. And when two oceanic convergent boundaries are colliding with each other, then what happens? Trenches are formed. Okay, remember that. So the deepest trench in the world is Mariana Trench. That is situated in the Pacific Ocean of the world. Pacific Ocean, the deepest and largest ocean. Okay. Now, since one plate is going down into the mantle and that rocks are getting melted, what is happening, students? You tell me. Something is destroying. That's why the convergent plate boundaries are also known as destruction boundary, or we can say active margins, or we can say collision boundary. There are many names of it. Third one is transform boundary. Suppose there are two plates that are slide past each other. When they're colliding, they're sliding past each other. That is called transform boundary. Nothing is getting destroyed and nothing is getting constructed. That is called transform boundary. Okay, remember that thing. So this boundary is also called as conservative boundary. Okay, conservative boundary, because something is conserved. Okay, so there are three tectonic plates. So we will talk about first in detail about divergent plate boundaries. Means whenever the two plates are moving apart from each other, the magma is ready to come out. And you know what is the difference between magma and lava? Means the molten rocks that is inside the surface of the earth is magma. The moment it comes out due to volcanic eruptions, that is called lava. This is the simple clear difference. Okay, so at a divergent boundary, two tectonic plates are slowly pulling away from each other, and this magma is coming out through the gaps that is created by that plate boundary. Okay, now you can see this is the real photo of the sea surface where two plates are moving apart, and you can see the magma is coming out. Okay, this is how the oceanic crust is formed, and this oceanic crust is formed by this particular rock. This from this na what is happening? This magma will cool down. The moment it will cool down, it will become igneous rocks, and in the case of oceanic floors, this rock is called basalt rock. Okay, the new crust of the boundary is mainly basalt. It's a dark, dense rock, as you can see there in the photo itself. Okay, and in whenever two continental plates are colliding with each other, then granite forms. Okay, due to the volcanic eruptions, we can say like that. And volcanic boundaries are responsible for the volcanic eruptions. Divergent boundaries are responsible for the volcanic eruptions, earthquakes and tsunamis all over the world. Okay, you have to remember that. Second is rift valley. When two plates are moving apart from each other, so both the sides, small ridges will be. Ridges means small hills will be formed due to the magma. Now this process continue throughout the time. So one layer, second layer, third layer. This is how the continental rift valleys are formed, as you can see in the diagram. Okay, and this photo, as you can see in the right side, this diagram is mid-Atlantic oceanic ridges that are formed by the divergent plate boundary, and this is the real photo of Atlantic's divergent ridges, mid-oceanic Atlantic ridges. That is the largest ridge in the world. Okay, that you have to remember. Okay, now we have already talked about continental rift valleys. So divergent boundaries can also develop within the continents, resulting in continental rift valley. The examples are East African Rift, like you can see here, East African Rift, Bacol Rift, West Antarctic Rift, and the Rio Grande Rift. These are the Earth's major continental rift valleys, and because of this rift valley, because of East African Rift Valley, Africa continent is splitting, and that portion is moving towards India. And in the future, you will see that part will be attached with India. So right now, India is having Western Ghats. In future, that Western Ghats will be colliding with this particular, this particular plate. What will happen? Fold mountains will be formed. Okay. So let's see when that happens. Fine. Second type of boundary is convergent plate boundary. Okay. So convergent plate boundary, when two plates come together, as you can see, when two plates are coming together, it is known as convergent boundary. So when these two plates are colliding, so the impact of these colliding plates, it buckles the edge of one of the both plates or into a rugged mountain, and sometimes it bends down the other one into a deep sea floor trench. Okay, so whenever this happens, a chain of volcano forms. It parallel to the boundary. This is boundary. This is boundary, student. This is first boundary. This is second boundary. So in the parallel of that boundary, chain of volcanoes are formed. Okay, along with the volcanoes, we can say mountain range and trenches are also formed. Powerful earth also shakes the wide area on both sides of the boundary. Okay. Now, if one of the colliding plate is topped with oceanic crust, what will happen? It will force down into the mantle where it begins to melt. Okay, so magma rises into and through the other plate, solidifying the new crust. It is so magma is formed from melting plates, solidifies into granite, a light colored, low density rock that makes up the continents. Okay, so at convergent boundary, continental crust made of granite is created. Okay, an oceanic crust is destroyed. We can say like that. Okay, so when two oceanic plates are colliding, what will happen? One oceanic crust will be destroyed, and when two continental crust are colliding, so when two continental crusts are colliding, then granite is formed. I already told you about it, right? Okay, so there are three types of convergent boundary also. First is oceanic continental convergence, second is oceanic convergence, third is continental convergence. You have to remember that. Okay, the diagram is there. So first is oceanic continental convergence. It means one crust is ocean, one crust is continent, and when these two are colliding, and in UPSC it was asked in examination that which of the following crust is more younger. So continental crust is less dense, beta, less dense, and oceanic crust is more dense. Dense means mass per volume. So when one oceanic crust is colliding with another continental crust, oceanic crust will go down. It's like I'm giving an example of an accident. When truck is colliding with a car, what will happen? Car will fly in the air, not but truck. So it's same situation. Oceanic crust is like a truck, and continental crust is like a small car that is flying away. So oceanic crust is going down, and this going down in geography is called a subduction zone. And when this happens, volcano also erupts, earthquake also comes, and due to earthquake, tsunami also comes. So that is oceanic continental convergence. Fine, you remember that. So this is the example of South American plate and Nazca plate. As you can see, Nazca plate is colliding with South American plate. Nazca plate is a oceanic plate, and South American plate is a continental plate. So Nazca plate is going down into mantle, and South American plate is going rising. Basically, this is how Andes mountains are formed. Okay, so this is the example you can write in the examination. Second is oceanic convergence, means when two oceanic plates are colliding with each other, what will happen? Oceanic trenches will be formed along with the volcanic arcs, means chain of volcanoes. And one important concept in the geography regarding oceanic convergence is that flux melting. So basically what happens when two oceanic plates are colliding with each other, one plate is going down, that is called subduction zone. Okay. Now what will happen? Plate means like they are made up of rocks only. So sometime in those rocks, mica, amphibobolus, serpentine, chlorite, talc and gypsum. These type of minerals are also there in the going down mental subduction. So what will happen, students, when this gypsum, talc, chlorite is going down? So the water inside them will vaporize, and because of the vapor, the rocks that is not melted in the mantle, that will also melt and the volcanoes will be erupted. That is one feature of oceanic convergence. Okay, that you have to remember, flux melting. This is called flux melting. The theory is written here, you can make the notes out of it. Fine. Now this is the example: Aleutian Islands and Mariana Islands. These are the islands that are formed by such type of plate boundaries when two oceanic plate boundaries collide. And third boundary is continental convergence, when two continental crusts are colliding with each other. What will happen? Such type of fold mountains are created, example being Himalayas and Alps mountain. Okay, fine. So these are the two boundaries. So now the third boundary is transform fault boundaries. Transform boundary, or we can say transform fault, we can say, or we can say strike slip boundary. So it is a fault along a plate boundary. So in this boundary, no plate is going down, no plate is going up, no plate is moving apart. These two plates are slide past. That's why it is called strike slip boundary or lateral boundary also, because nothing is getting destroyed, nothing is creating. It is also called conservative boundary. Okay. So in this type of boundary, faults are formed, and the transform boundaries are located when two plates are sliding past. I already told you. Let's jump into the so before continuing, let me tell you about the KAS Mains test series. We started from 17th of February. In this particular test series, we are providing you 16 tests. So what exactly are those tests? 4 essays, 8 sectional tests and 4 full-length GS tests. So the offer price is only 3499. So don't forget to subscribe this, and you will definitely get the benefit out of it. Okay, and this is the full schedule what is going on. So you're not late, because the test you have missed, you can give them attempt later also. Okay, it is available both online and offline. You can contact on the number given. Okay, this number, these are the numbers you can contact and get the more information out of it. Fine. Yeah, so let's resume our transform fault boundaries. So example of transform plate boundaries are San Andreas fault and the Anatolian fault. These are the two very famous faults. Okay, and these both are nearby the North America, and Anatolian is nearby of the in Asia, and San Andreas fault is a famous fault. It is in North, this USA, western coast of USA. Okay, so you have to remember that. So basically, there are three types of motion are possible between these plates. This is the summary of the three plate boundaries. So divergent motion will be spreading, convergent is subduction, transform is lateral sliding. What is the effect? Divergent is constructive, convergent is destructive, transform is conservative. What is the topography? When there are two divergent plate boundaries, ridges or rifts are formed. We have already talked about mid-Atlantic Oceanic ridge and this fault, San Andreas fault, Anatolian fault. Trenches are formed in convergent boundary: Tonga Trench, Sunda Trench, Puerto Rico Trench, South Sandwich Trench, Molloy Hole Trench, Mariana Trench. These are the trenches. This is formed by convergent boundary. And in transform, no major effect happens. Only the topography of that particular region only changes. Okay. So there are more into these boundaries. We will talk about it in the next video, where I will talk about the major and minor plates of the world. Okay. So this is it for today. See you in the next one. Okay. Thank you so much.